All right, so hey everyone, thank you for attending the very first Southeast Asia Service Conference. I'm Cal Galicia, I'm from SAS. And before we begin the rest of the opening ceremony, we'd like to introduce the SEASC team.
Hi, I'm Norbu and I'm from ISM.
I'm Mia and I'm also from ISM.
I'm Asha from ISKL.
I'm Unji from ISKL.
Hi, I'm Roberto from GIS.
Hi, I'm Ananya from GIS.
Hi, I'm Sasha from ISB.
And hi, I'm Renee from SAS.
And hi, I'm Dr. Bagan, the host of the panel, the SEASC.
The webinar.
from SAS.
So while we can't officially brand this IASIS, there's no point in hiding the fact that the common thread binding all of us is that we attend 5 schools that have a close history together. To date, our schools have only celebrated athletics, arts, public speaking, and more, yet service, which is a strong pillar in all of our schools, has never been something we've ever collaborated on. In the way that athletes and artists connect, volunteers should connect too. So amidst this hectic year, the service councils of ISB, ISM, ISKL, GIS, and SAS have come together to organize this conference. Over the past 5 months, we've worked hard to put this pioneering event together. Even as we organize this idea with the goal of connecting all of you, we as a team have personally gained so much insight into how service works in the other IASIS schools.
Let's also address the elephant in the room. This pandemic has changed the way all of us serve, forcing us to become flexible and adapt in ways we've never had to before. However, let's also indulge the silver lining. If there were no pandemic, there wouldn't be as big a need to bridge our schools' service together virtually, because we'd probably be too busy serving as we already have. And while this may be the first event of this kind, we hope it's not the last. For that, we have to, in a sort of convoluted way, thank the pandemic for giving us the push we need to start this. Change is always appreciated, but it takes truly adversity to create the necessity for that change to occur. In order to receive CAS hours, if your school does the IB, you need to attend both the ceremonies as well as at least 2 workshops. Also make sure to take screenshots of your attendance to the workshops for CAS evidence. If you haven't met those requirements and you'd like to, please contact your school representative and we'll get that sorted right away.
Before we send you away to your workshops, we'd like to thank all the speakers who agreed to present today. Thank you Marnia Bao, Reina Wong, Ms. Valeria Vietz, Mansi Topandasani, Jennifer Wajaja, Faye Sukaparansi, Kohei Sano, Cal Galicia, and Tom Graham. They're all so knowledgeable and we hope you are able to learn from them and bring that knowledge back to the service you do. And during the club meeting sessions, we encourage you to take advantage of this unique opportunity to get to know and make connections with other students. Without further ado, at the half-hour mark, so 10:30 or 11:30, depending where you live, the first workshop, Navigating Online News and Activism, will be starting. If you are missing any Zoom links, please contact your school rep. And if you're attending a later workshop, have a great day until then.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to leave them in the Q&A box and we will answer them now. If you have no questions, you may leave the call. Once again, thank you. None of this would have been possible without you. We will see you again at the closing ceremony.
So good afternoon, everyone. We hope that you've enjoyed today's conference. And before we close, we would like to acknowledge our workshop presenters for sharing their passion for service and the various ways in which you can serve others. So from ISM, Marnia Bao and Reina Huang. From ISKL, Ms. Valeria Vietez. From GIS, Mansi Topadasandi and Jennifer Ijaja. From ISB, Faye Suprangsi. And from SAS, Hohisano and Cal Galicia. Once again, thank you to all the workshop presenters.
Now we have our closing keynote speaker, Tom. Originally from the UK, Tom Graham has spent the last 8 years of his life dedicated to promoting social, sustainable tourism in the Philippines. After authoring the book, The Genius of the Poor, with over 11,000 copies sold in English, French, and Japanese, and a popular TEDx talk by the same name, Tom established MAD, which stands for Make a Difference, Travel in 2014. MAD is a travel platform which creates impactful travel experiences for individuals, schools, and corporations. MAD works with communities in 7 different provinces of the Philippines to promote social enterprise and environmental sustainability. MAD's flagship program is to partner with a local indigenous community to plant a 3,000-hectare rainforest in the province of Zambales. Let's give a virtual round of applause to Tom.
All right. Thank you very much, Mia, for that introduction and for I'm feeling the virtual applause. So really appreciate that as well. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here and to be able to share with some ideas and some closing remarks. I wasn't able to attend the sessions earlier, but I've been having a look at some of the topics you've been discussing, and they're really interesting and relevant in today's world. So I hope you've been able to get a lot out of not just the opportunity to connect with each other and to share ideas. And I think this is what this is all about, right? And this is going to be something I'm going to touch upon in my talk. This opportunity that we have through COVID, it's disrupted us in so many different ways, and it's really made, I think, the world of service and sustainability and impact different, right? More challenging in some ways, but full of opportunities in others. And I think the only way we can get through this is through collaboration and through sharing ideas. So I'm really glad that you were able to. Congratulations to all of the organizers for putting this event together, because impact really is done a lot better when we are finding out what our unique skills are, what our experiences are, contributing them, and then learning from others and seeing how we can collaborate and find shared value in what we do. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some ideas, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do in this presentation is basically share with you how we, as a travel company, have been able to adapt and to pivot despite all of the disruption that we have faced this year. And hopefully in the process give you some ideas, right, for how all of you are involved in service and service clubs with different schools. Hopefully what I share will give you some ideas as to how you yourselves can adapt and evolve and come back even stronger as service clubs, right? And then I'm going to, in the second half of my presentation, actually ask you some questions and get you to really reflect on your role as global citizens and change makers in this world. Okay, so first of all, a little bit of a background to what we do as MAD. So I really believe, as a social enterprise, our focus is not on making a profit. It's on solving a social or an environmental issue. And whenever you get involved in this kind of work, you have to really consider what is the number one sort of challenge, or the deepest challenge that you want to address as an organization, okay, as a social enterprise. And we really believe, and we started MAD because we felt that there's a huge level of disconnection in the world, okay? We're disconnected from each other. We're disconnected from the communities that we partner with. We're also disconnected from solutions, okay? So we kind of feel perhaps the world is hopeless, or we're not very inspired by what we see around us, right? And we want change, we want it urgently, and yet we're disconnected from the people, perhaps, or the organizations that are actually trying to bring about change. And so this was the challenge that we wanted to address, okay? And we did it originally through travel. Okay, so we had a travel company which would connect schools and universities such as yours to our community partners, which you'll see on the right. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a quick video so you can just get an idea for what we do as an organization.
No, I don't think that word naman doubles the pressure. I think the global context of global warming, of overconsumption, is what's putting pressure on us. We made MAD to end poverty. Before, we thought it's just the poverty of people. Now we realize it's a sustainability issue of how people and environment should coexist properly. So we see the Philippines as the #1 social tourism destination in the world.
Well, everyone's so happy and so welcoming. Food was amazing.
The chain is very simple. By loving the community partners we have and designing it properly with them, then we are able to empower them to take care of nature, which in turn takes care of us.
This is my way to give back. I find my passion and purpose here, which is to really help the poor, and I will do it through my travel.
this is the generation that can really change the course of humanity. And design has such an important role to play in that.
Okay, so that was actually related to an award that we won, right, by a Good Design Award in Japan. But this idea, this concept of design is so important, okay, because social innovation needs new solutions, okay, and we need those solutions to be local solutions. And you are the generation, right? All of you that are listening, you are the ones that can help us to design a brighter future, okay, not just sort of fit in with existing systems and existing patterns, but how can we create something different? Okay, so so we worked with a range of communities. This is one of the communities we worked with. It's in these mountains. Somewhere here, they live in the foot of these mountains, an indigenous community in the Philippines. And we felt, look, the challenge of sustainability, the challenge of poverty is so huge that we need to design big solutions, large scale solutions. Okay, so that's why we have the mission in this particular area, not just to plant a few trees, but to plant 3 million trees, right? And to bring back this rainforest, which, as you can see from this picture, is largely dying. Those mountains that you see there are dying. Okay, so we did it through travel, right? And we planted 50,000 trees, which may sound a lot, but it's actually not very many, right? We're really at the beginning of this journey because we need to plant 3 million trees. And that's just in Zambales. Okay. But we showed that it could be done. And then COVID hit. And how on earth do you, as a travel company, right? How do you pivot or adapt when, our brand of tourism was all about connecting people, okay? And COVID-19, of course, the one thing that we must do is social distance. And so connecting becomes the last thing, at least on a physical level, becomes the last thing that we should be doing to keep ourselves safe. So what happened? Well, we created and we designed solutions in different areas. One thing we did was we created like a very, very, very small version of like a Lazada, okay, but which would connect our community partners to a market. So we would, buy products off the community, whether they be fruits and vegetables or honey or coffee, and then we sell them to consumers in Metro Manila. Okay, so that's one thing we did. But even more importantly, right, we thought, how can we keep people connected, keep students connected to communities despite the fact that we cannot visit in person? And we realized that a whole focus of what we did was all on experiential learning, right? Learning through connecting. And so what we have done over the course of the last few months is very, very quickly, and as quickly as possible, as we possibly can, adapt all of our programs to the online environment. And that means creating e-learning programs. So basically looking at the global issues which our community partners teach us, okay, but through a local lens, okay? So we all know about, for example, the challenge of, plastic pollution, right? But we feel there's a huge amount of value in learning about that issue through a local community, right? So that's one thing we've done. We've created some CAS programs, okay? So you can complete your CAS requirements while collaborating with social entrepreneurs. And then we've also installed Wi-Fi in our partner communities, okay, to create virtual experiences where, we're creating cooking classes in partnership with our communities and many more activities, okay? So I'm giving you these ideas because this may give you an idea of how you can stay connected, or your school can stay connected to some of your service partners, okay? This is not just a case of saying, hey, everybody needs to come to the Philippines or everyone needs to work with the Philippines, but have a look at your service organizations and think to yourself, okay, how can my or our service organization stay connected during COVID? So very quickly, okay, there may be an opportunity to create content, Okay, there may be an opportunity to interview people in your service organizations and to see what can we learn from our service partners, which will help us to understand a sustainable development goal better. And I'm just going to give you, again, a very quick 1-minute sample so you can see how we've created content for our community partner in the Philippines.
I'm going to take you on a journey to discover my life as a social entrepreneur. You ready for a hike? Let's go this way. Hi, hello. So this valley wasn't always the way it looks today. When the volcano erupted, it buried everything here, which basically hit the reset button into society. And that really resulted in the community here being left behind technologically, food security-wise, and even forgetting parts of their culture. Oi, basta! And so after seeing the poverty of the environment here and seeing how poor some of the people were, no jobs in the area, inability to farm, it really challenged us. Like, what could we do? How do we give something to the community while giving something to the environment? And help them realize that it's also in their best interest to invest with us for their future.
So there, the idea being that you can go beyond the classroom, okay, and actually interact with, so having created content, so if you have a service partner, having created content, maybe you have somebody that you work with in an organization, they can create some video content and then it can be pre-recorded. Maybe some of you have some skills in video editing, right? Or you'd like to give it a try. And then you could actually have a live interaction, right, with the people behind that video or involved in that particular service organization, okay? So we've been developing this kind of content related to a lot of different social enterprises in the Philippines, in Malaysia, and also just recently in Vietnam as well. So that's one thing you could think about, okay? Another thing you can think about is collaboration programs, okay? So as I said, we've created a sort of a CAS program where you can work with social entrepreneurs on a project and fulfill your CAS requirements. So you get to meet obviously and engage with social entrepreneurs, but then actually work on a project over a series of weeks and reflect on it, okay? And it's a great way to get maybe some business experience, maybe some marketing experience, and while you're working on a project with a social impact organization, whether it be an NGO or a social enterprise. And I'm going to give you a little example of something that we developed, actually originally with some students from SEASC, and just an example of a sort of a mentorship program that we developed with one of our partner communities. Okay, so there you get the idea, right? So collaborating with filmmakers, bringing your experience, your interest in film to bring global issues to life. Okay, and again, you can apply it to lots of different sustainable development goals and lots of different organizations. Okay, so now it's over to you. Okay, I've shared a little bit what we're doing. So how will you still make a difference despite some of the restrictions that are placed on us in terms of travel nowadays? So I really like this analogy of social innovation being a little bit like a potluck party. Now, if any of you are not familiar with what a potluck party is, it's basically this idea that let's say somebody has a party at their house, okay, and they say everybody bring a dish, okay. So you bring maybe some food or some drink, something like that, right? And just imagine you were to do a potluck party and everyone brought the same dish, okay? Everybody brought nachos. Now, I like nachos, okay? There's a place for nachos in most potluck parties. But if everyone brings it, it's not really going to work, right, as a party. So social innovation is very much the same, right? Your dish, my sort of challenge to you today is to reflect on what is your dish? What is the dish that you bring? Okay, and we all have a different dish, okay? And once you've reflected on what your dish is, okay, what are you passionate about? What are the skills that you can bring, whether it be video editing, or whether it be planning, or whether it be marketing or writing, or something business related, okay? What is the dish that you bring, okay? And then don't worry so much about where your weakness is, or at least where you don't feel you have strengths, right? So let's imagine you like the idea of starting a social enterprise, but you have no idea how the numbers work, okay? Well, maybe that's your opportunity, and that's why it's great that you're connecting with each other today, because who knows, there may be someone else that you can partner with that has a different skill that can complement yours, okay? So it really does work better, social innovation, when we bring something different to the table. So have a think about it, okay? What is your role? What is the role that you want to play in this fight that we are engaged in, okay? To bring about a kinder and a fairer world. Are you the voice, okay? Do you see your role as testifying, as reporting, or teaching, okay? Are you the eye? Okay, again, are you all about recording, sharing, promoting in some way? Are you the arm? Okay, do you want to get directly involved in volunteering alongside communities, whether it be virtually or in person? Do you like to fund? Okay, fundraising. Okay, that has a role to play. Okay. Finally, be the heart. Okay, so are you an inspiring storyteller? Okay, is your real value in understanding and empathizing with others? And if so, how can you bring that you have, and that's something you're passionate about, towards a social cause? So this would be my challenge for you, okay? Really to identify what it is that inspires you. And I'm going to very quickly share with you this concept, because we are running out of time, okay? But something I find really, really helpful is this concept of ikigai. It's a Japanese concept, okay? And if I had known my ikigai when I was your age, then I would have probably saved a lot of time pursuing careers which paid me very well, which gave me lots of sort of glamorous opportunities to be a journalist, okay? But, okay, it didn't meet it wasn't really my vocation in life, okay? So I find this ikigai really, really useful, okay? Because you can bring together things that you love, and also ideally something that you're good at. For example, you may love singing in the shower, but you may not be very good at it, okay? So probably a singing career is not for you, and certainly it's not something the world needs, okay? But this is something to really, really think about, okay? By all means, I don't know, take a screenshot of this, or I think I will share the presentation with you later, right? I'm happy to do that anyway. So you can reflect on this, and ideally identify a role model who represents your ikigai, okay? So think about people who are living what you are passionate about, and maybe having the kind of impact you want to have in the world, okay? So I think as much as possible, if you can have tangible, really real role models, that can be so important for you. So think about that. I mean, we place so often our role models are celebrities who are just our role models because maybe they're good at singing or something, or maybe they're cool, but do they really reflect our personal values? Okay, do they really fight for the causes and prioritize the causes that we care about? Okay, so spend some time after this session thinking about your values, okay? And this is things you actually value, okay? Things that over the course of your life so far, your young lives, things that have made you feel good. Think of a moment in your past when you felt passionate and you felt fulfilled. And why was that? Really investigate, sit down, reflect on it. Why did I feel so fulfilled in that moment? What was it specifically about it? Okay, identify some causes that you are particularly passionate about. Okay, and you know, this will most probably be aligned with your values. Okay, and then think of people who are perhaps living out those values. How are they living out those values? And especially, can you think of people who are being paid to live out their values? Okay, that is will give you an insight into possible careers that you can look at in the future. And I feel that your work in your service clubs and everything you do related to CAS is an amazing opportunity for you to explore and to experiment with what it is that makes you tick as a person, and what you learn through this can help really give you lots of insights in terms of what you want to study later at university, or even what you want to do further on in life. So very quickly, some other examples of making a difference online. This is an amazing, this is a video, a really brilliant documentary called Human. You can find it on YouTube. And again, somebody's brought their art of storytelling, right, to a good cause. Something that any of you who are from the Philippines may be familiar with is somebody who came up with, was passionate about cooking, but also about zero waste, okay, and came up with sort of a blog which inspired people and has been very popular in the Philippines around cooking in a more sustainable way. We had some groups that came on one of our trips, and they were so inspired by what they saw when they visited in person that they started a Fund the Forest campaign, which has already raised really quite a lot of money, which has been able to support the planting of trees and jobs for the community during this time. And then it could be that you're a vlogger, and these are two sort of quite popular, again, people that have brought their skills in storytelling, but their passion for sustainability and impact into an interest in the natural world. And they are now, I believe, bloggers for National Geographic. So, of course, this is the sort of the ultimate. But you can start small, okay? Start small and start by identifying your values. Start by identifying what you feel the skills are that you can bring, and start with baby steps, okay? And see how you can collaborate with others. So that's all from me. Finally, I would just say, there's my email address, okay? I'm very, very happy to chat to any service clubs or to any students if they want some further ideas or expertise, insights based on our experience about how can you connect your service club to the online environment. And even very, very happy to explore collaborations with other organizations. We have already, thanks to some of our collaborations with different schools, been able to build new partnerships and collaborate on creating content and programs with new social enterprises and non-profit organizations in different countries outside of the Philippines. And that's thanks to the connections we've been able to make through students like you. So very, very open to chatting with you via email, and even organizing a call with your service club or with your service coordinators at school to see what more ideas we can share with you, which may be of value. So that's it. I just finish with the final thought that it really is, COVID has disrupted the world in a way which was absolutely unimaginable a year ago, and yet the world was already bursting at the seams before COVID, right? And it's an opportunity. This is an opportunity for us to connect to others using technology, connect to others in a way in which we have never done before, right? And to do it in a far more consistent way. Whereas we often used to see service as a once a year abroad, maybe now service and impact can be, thanks, if we can harness technology in a good way, it can enable us to stay connected with others and to overcome that challenge of disconnection on a continual basis, right, throughout the year. And that, I think, is what is so exciting about the current situation that we find ourselves in, despite, of course, the very difficult times that we have to recognize as well. But hopefully we can see it as an opportunity to do service differently, to do impact differently, and you, as young students and very tech savvy young people, are the ones that can lead us there. So thank you for listening. And I'm very happy, I don't know if we have time, but I'm very happy to take any questions. Perhaps I'll pass back over to you, Mia. Is it you, Mia? I'm not sure. Whoever's going to speak after you.
I actually have a question for you. So you mentioned in your presentation, you mentioned that you should look at our role model. So who is your role model?
That's a great question. My role models keep changing, actually. So it's not like I've had, I had, when I first arrived in the Philippines, okay, to give you a little insight, I was a business journalist, and I dreamed when I was your age of being a writer, earning good money and traveling the world. And I was fortunate to achieve that, right? I was writing for in-flight magazines and for an American magazine called Newsweek. I was traveling the world, and yet I wasn't passionate about what I was actually writing about. So I was writing about, basically I was kind of hanging out with the very rich in a country like Manila, a city like Manila, and I was writing these investment reports, but I was disconnected from the words I was sharing, okay? So my role models back then were young social entrepreneurs who had something I didn't have, and what they had was that sense of purpose. And they were doing something, they had a dream which went beyond themselves, went beyond how much money can I earn from this, or how successful can I be. They had a dream which seemed to go beyond that. So they became my role models, a range of different social entrepreneurs, but not necessarily one person, but a range of different social entrepreneurs. I think nowadays, yeah, I have different role models for different aspects of my life. Something I've noticed just recently as well is just I've become a little bit too obsessed with social innovation and with impact, and I haven't been able to switch. And so I've been finding it difficult to sleep, and I've been just too switched on the whole time. So I've actually had some new role models now who are people that have taught me like how to meditate and how to have a calmer mind, and also to realize that there are limitations to what you can do as an individual, right? And there's a point where you have to let go. So I hope that answers your sort of question, but I have kind of different role models for different aspects of my life, and I try to take what I can from each and stay inspired in that. Yeah, and I'm sure you need the same in you work incredibly busy schedules. And I know you have so much homework, so much to think about at the moment. So you know, it's not necessarily like one person will have all of the answers for you, but you may be able to take something from one person, something from someone else.
Thank you so much, Tom. Okay, everything is linked. All of his contact details are linked in the chat box below. So if you have any further questions, feel free to contact him through their Instagram, emailing him, or even checking out their website if you're interested in anything that they do. Thanks again, Tom.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So as many of us know, this year has presented us with various challenges, and service is ever more important to eradicate the problems which we face in our local communities. In addressing these problems, we are so glad that you came together virtually to make a change. I speak on behalf of the SEASC team in saying that we are so grateful to everyone who has joined us today, ultimately encouraging youth participation in global adversities. For those who will be using this for their Catholic service experiences, you should have taken screenshots of all the workshops that you attended, which will be used for your CAS evidence. If you forgot to take screenshots, don't hesitate to email any of us members, and we can email you the screenshots of the workshops that you attended.
Finally, thank you to you, the participants. This conference wouldn't have been possible without your participation. So with all of that said, thank you and have a great rest of your day.